Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SIL Legal Lounge podcast, Let's Talk Law, a show where we talk about different areas of law and policy in a frank and easy to understand manner so that everyone can end up learning something new. Our topic for today carries on from the previous episode where we were talking about the Iran US war and Pakistan's efforts towards mediation. Today, we're going to be taking a slightly broader perspective as to how mediation actually works on an international level and whether these stalls, is this a sign of failure or is there something more at play over here? My guest for today is someone who is an expert on the current topic, being an internationally accredited mediator and arbitrator. We have with us today Sir Syed Hassan Ali Raza, who also happens to be an SIL faculty member, which I'm very proud of. I'm going to be giving a brief introduction, and Hassan, if I miss anything, please feel free to stop me and add it in between. So, Hassan Ali Raza is an advocate of the Supreme Court of Pakistan with over 17 years of extensive experience in both domestic and international dispute resolution. He is qualified in the UK and holds an LLM in commercial law. He also possesses substantial expertise in civil and criminal litigation and arbitration and regularly advises and represents clients before both domestic and foreign courts. He also plays a pivotal role in advancing the recognition and enforcement of foreign arbitration agreements and arbitral awards in Pakistan, including the New York Convention 1958, acting on behalf of multinational and Fortune 500 clients. He is also a regular contributor to prominent legal publications, including the Kluwer Arbitration blog. A very impressive CV, Hassan, which is expected. Did I miss anything?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be over here. As always, you've been very superfluous in setting out the experience. It's a lot less than contemplated, but it's always a pleasure, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for taking out time for us today. So, again, as I just mentioned in the introduction, today we are here to talk about a very pressing question, which, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I've had a couple of family members also ask me because, they weren't lawyers, so they were kind of curious, ke, kya ho raha hai? So, if you remember the first round of talks, when they happened and, both the representatives of both countries, when they went away and nothing was resolved. So immediately one would hear, oh, nothing has been decided, the talks have failed. And, as lawyers and as people with, experience in mediation, we try to tell them, Acha, this is not how it works. It's a slow and steady process. And now round two has begun, and we're not getting to hear much about what is actually happening inside. So let's just start with the first question, which is how does international mediation actually work?
If you want a straight answer, uh, and I think it would be fair for the audience, mediation is a very simple process which takes you from point A to point B. Point A being what you want, and point B being what you need. Now, this journey from want to need is very cumbersome, very tiresome. It has to take your ego down. It has to stimulate your brain in understanding what your satisfaction level is. Now, want basically means a position that you think may be legally favorable to you, or a position that you think you are justified of taking. But your need could be completely separate. And so, in any international mediation, be it in such high stakes diplomacy or a commercial dispute or a very small dispute, it is the same process. The process is not different, but it is where you need to nurture the parties in understanding that the real goal is settlement, as opposed to taking a precedence of position from one to the other. So I think that in a nutshell is what mediation is.
All right. So the delays that are currently taking place, you would say that this is very normal and expected, given the history of
I
both
think
nations.
Yeah, so I think you have to appreciate this is a nation which has been in disagreement for the last 4 decades.
Yeah.
There is a deadlock of everything, deadlock of culture, deadlock of thinking, deadlock of trade, deadlock of economy, deadlock of anything and everything that you can think of. Now, expecting 41 years of animosity, 41 years of change of positions in, let's say, 12 hours is asking a bit too much. So I think this deadlock is a phase, it's not an outcome. And delay, I think, is a tool which is to build leverage, but it is very natural. Again, uh, at this diplomatic level, talking while fighting is very normal. You see, face saving is critical. There is one nation whose leader has been, killed in active warfare. There is another nation who thought it was a walk in the park like Yugoslavia and things would finish. So you see, face saving is very difficult.
Okay,
Now,
I'm really glad you mentioned that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this actually is, I really want to clarify this for the audience. You've mentioned that face saving is very important. And we have heard some statements, from both the leaders about how much they mistrust each other and how they do not want to continue if they don't sort of change their positions and so on. So some harsh words have been shared by both sides. Is this part of the face saving technique as well?
yes, I think both parties want to weigh out. I don't think any sane mind can agree to the fact that killing would resolve something, or war would resolve something in this era. So I think what's the best way of taking a step back? Face saving. Now, what is face saving? Face saving is a solution in itself. I want out. I don't want to fight any further, or I don't want to be killed any further, or that my entire infrastructure should not be destroyed. So, you see, it's important that you have to find two winners. Now, as I said, the want of each winner can be very different, but there they have to find the need. What is it that I need to show to win? So I think both of them are in this process where they are trying to find that very common point of reaching and saying, oh, look, we won the war. So I think that is what face saving is happening over here.
All right. So what exactly is happening right now in the talks, according to your analysis? Because, we again, you just said that both parties, they might want something, but what they need is entirely different. And this time, if you have noticed, like everyone else, there's a lot of secrecy really around what is happening. There was a lot more coverage which was given during round one. In round two, not so much. It's just that Islamabad has been facing, the road closures and so on. So we don't really know this time, what is happening inside. So according to you, what's happening?
Okay, of course, my security clearance isn't that high enough. Uh, But I think this is a breather that both parties are taking. Uh, Traditionally, people would view this as a stalemate, and it could be defined as a stalemate, but there is an angle that people generally miss during high stake diplomatic events, which is backdoor diplomacy. So I think a lot of backdoor diplomacy is going on. Pakistan obviously is actively involved not only regionally but internationally, and I think what is going on is USA's demand of zero nuclear enrichment, that is on the one end, and Iran's demand of straightaway economic relief, which is lifting of sanctions, returning of property. And mind you, I think Iran is also finding alternates, which is, well, if I can find that economic relief from making a forward block with Russia or with, let's say, Korea or China, I may not even need to, give away my nuclear enrichment. So I think a lot of backdoor diplomacy is happening, and formally things may sound as there's stalemate or there's a deadlock, but I think there's a lot of back and forth going on, and things are moving in the right direction.
So, would you agree that obviously, since there is a lot going on beneath the surface, as you're saying, one of the major signs of that is that the talks are still taking place. So, despite the fact that we might not see a lot happening, the fact that they're still agreeing to come and meet and talk about things shows that there is progress.
Uh, Collapse and progress are two swings of the same pendulum in a mediation. Okay, so a collapse of talks and then progress and then collapse and then progress. What you need to understand is, as I initially said, wants are cultivated when needs are identified. So yes, in my understanding, even though there may be a collapse of talks, I still feel that at this stage, at this high stake diplomacy, uh, bits and pieces of information sharing and thinking of alternates and way outs is progress, and it need not be a final settlement, but it need be a workable settlement. So for example, if I was just to identify, do you see any more bombs falling down in Iran? No, that's a progress. Do you see any more people dying in Iran? No, that's a progress. Do you see USA saving up on a lot of arsenal, war? Yes, that's a progress. Do you see, so if you look at several aspects of this, including you see loss of human lives and infrastructure damage, oil and gas and all that. So I think there is progress, and mind you, this is part of the same deal. This is part of the same struggle, that is to reach a common goal.
Okay. All right, but then Hassan, I do have one question. So, previously I was reading some articles online as well, and people were sharing them extensively on, social media. Um, that this is basically, I mean, some might call this a conspiracy theory, but basically that United States, it's just, sort of buying time. And these talks are basically just buying time, but the plan is to, carry out further aggression, carry out further attacks, and so on. Where exactly do you see that claim?
I don't think that is correct in the current atmosphere. It may have been correct initially, but I don't think it's correct in the current atmosphere. And the reason for that is Pakistan, because you see, if there's nothing stopping America or its ally from bombing Iran right now, there's just nothing stopping them, right? They could do it. But why have they stopped? Why is this extension of ceasefire at least several times that has happened? Because I think Pakistan played a fantastic role in informing USA that if you eliminate the last people who actually talk, there is nobody that's going to remain to talk with, right? You will only be dealing with people whose ideology is, well, do die, survive. Now, you can't talk with that ideology. So I think at this point in time, I don't see America buying time just to attack later. I see America buying time to get out of this mess. And for me, I think the main decisive factor is how Pakistan's military has played a fantastic role, and obviously the diplomatic channels have played a fantastic role in doing this.
So coming to Pakistan's role, and you're saying how they played such a pivotal role in all of this. Is Pakistan merely just playing host and facilitating this mediation round? Or is there something more active that's happening from our end?
I think, for starters, we must all agree that Pakistan, its civil leadership and exclusively its military leadership have done a fantastic job. we must not lose sight of the fact that a ceasefire not just occurred in Iran because of Pakistan, but also in Lebanon. So the trickle effect is effectively we have sort of stopped all this in GCC. If I have to spell it out, Iran, Lebanon, Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, all these places where you saw drones and missiles, UAE, all these drones and missiles flying pro and contra, it has stopped because of Pakistan.
Yeah.
So now, in a normal mediation, a mediator would obviously not look at benefits, but his key role would be to achieve an active settlement for the parties. But the situation in such a mediation where the stakes are so high and diplomatic channels are so involved, if the mediator is looking for a benefit of his own, for example, would you mind if petrol costs around 30 to 40 rupees a liter? Again, if sanctions from Iran are taken away, would you mind if electricity in your country goes down to peanuts a unit? If, for example, LNG, supply of LNG, no, you would not, right? So, likewise, would you mind if a message goes out in the international world that Pakistan is a safe place? I mean, I have lived long enough to tell my friends in GCC, would you like to come to Pakistan? We are safer than you. So, I think all of this is a brand new narrative for Pakistan. And if Pakistan thinks that it is taking some benefit out of it, well, so be it. It is entitled to do so,
And long overdue.
and long overdue.
All right. So, if in your opinion, what would right now, because you've talked about this in a very pragmatic way about how one should not expect miracles, and the fact that the bombings, like you have said, have stopped. That in itself is a very, very positive sign. So for this particular round, what do you think qualifies as a clear win? Something which is very encouraging to see.
Round one, for a person like me who was just a bit involved in the process of this process and through my canvas as a mediator, stopping of loss of human life, stopping of acting war, Pakistan saving 3 trillion a day in oil industry. I think all of these are wins for round one, right? For round two, the fact that they sit on the table is going to be a good progress. And mind you, again, I mean, it's saying something, don't enrich uranium, or it's saying something, Iran, here's your $20 billion worth of assets and no sanctions. It's saying something, right? So you have to look at it realistically. To reach that goal, one has to wait and see. But I think talking again on these two agenda points and finding common ground, I think just talking would be a fantastic approach.
All right. All right. So, one final question, Hassan. Do you think that, given our experience now with these rounds of mediation, do you think Pakistan has a chance or has the required experience and expertise to host future international conflict resolution?
Um, You know, in the recent past, I read a book that used to say mediation is the stepchild of alternate dispute resolution. It gets ignored everywhere. Everybody runs to court or runs towards arbitration. I feel Pakistan has given a real meaning to mediation. And I feel Pakistan has given a fantastic platform, not just to domestic, but to international parties to consider this place as a common, neutral, unbiased middle ground to resolve a dispute, be it commercial, be it diplomatic, be it anything,
Yeah.
ensuring safety, ensuring credibility. and I think Pakistan is certainly ready for it. What Pakistan only needs to add to this is it needs to institutionalize mediation. It needs to take this leap of faith that mediations can now not just happen in closed doors behind in hotels. It needs to create proper infrastructure so that people are not just attracted, but when they come they have everything ready. And so, for example, whenever you think about arbitration, the first word that comes to mind is London Court of International Arbitration. Now that is exactly what I am contemplating: Islamabad Center for Mediation, or something like
Sounds
that,
wonderful.
where exactly. And that is something that Pakistan should cash, because effectively, if it can stop World War III, I think it can resolve anything.
I think on that note, we can conclude this episode because, yes, if Pakistan can be trusted to end World War III, Pakistan can be trusted for many, many things. And again, I said this in the previous episode as well with Atya. I'm saying it again today. As a Pakistani, I am very proud. And I keep saying it because honestly, it is literally right now Pakistan's turn to shine. And like I said, long overdue.
Absolutely. And I think we've sacrificed a bit too much. It's a lot of civilian lives, military lives. We've sacrificed a lot from early 2000s all the way to 2026. And I think it's time we should start considering and telling our children that the days of Pakistan becoming better are near. And frankly, I think, like you, I am a perfect patriot today because I'm just thumping that Pakistan has made it. We're a very small nation in this whole affair, but we've made the difference.
And inshallah, we'll continue on improving it even further.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, Hassan. This was a really uplifting episode. I loved it. And your words have actually they really resonate with me because honestly, you keep, sort of hearing all negative press about your country over the years. We've grown up, our children have also grown up at a time when there were constant, threats all around our economy. I mean, it's no secret. Everybody knows what Pakistan has been through. So it is very refreshing to see the change that is coming today. And on that note, we will be ending this episode. I hope all of you who were watching ended up learning something. And I hope that we have also managed to answer the questions that I was personally receiving as well. कि ये क्या हो रहा है? कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा है. ये talks क्या fail हो गई हैं या are they still going on? I hope Hassan has managed to answer that very, very effectively for everyone. If there are still any questions, please feel free to email us at info@sil.edu.pk and I will be bothering Hassan. And Hassan, then you can answer those questions for us.
It'll be a pleasure to do that. And I'm really grateful to you for this opportunity. And I thank you. And I always wish SIL the best of luck.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to always speak to you, and our students look forward to your next tutorial very soon. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
very much.
everyone, for watching. Have a wonderful day. Allah Hafiz.